Hello, I'm Caroline CSE. Welcome to the return of Bread to Win for 2022, coming off the back of our yearling sale previews and another sensational English-Australian Easter yearling sale. Coming up, we look back at English Easter, the highlight lots, a returned international buying bench and all the great theatre. Later, we hear another great story of falling in love with the industry in Arrowfield Studs, the horse who made you love racing. But first, let's hear the latest from the breeding world in Horse news, including day 2 of the championships from Royal Randwick and Fireburn's gorgeous sire Rebel Dane to stand at Widden Stud in season 2022. 10-time Group 1 winning champion on the track, So You Think, has continually been amongst the top echelon of Australian sires. But Saturday, on day 2 of the championships at Royal Randwick, he went to another realm. The hugely popular son of High Chaparral now leads the Australian General Sires list after his 3 Group 1 winners in a row increased his sire earnings by $440,000. And with the Adelaide and Brisbane Carnivals to come, and his numbers currently in training, there's no reason he can't hang on and take the title at the end of the season.
But Knight's Order will lead all the way in the Sydney Cup.
Last year's Brisbane Cup winner, the Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Bott trained Knight's Order, was dominant in the 2-mile Sydney Cup, becoming So You Think's first European-bred Group 1 winner. He's from the Woodman mare Lamenka Lass.
Think it over, down the stands rail, lunges, gets up.
Next was the clever steer to the outside from Nash Rawilla for Kerry Parker, as rider stakes winner Think It Over recorded his second Group 1 win in the $4 million Queen Elizabeth Stakes. Think It Over's dam personal service is a Zabeel, half-sister to Universal Prince and Universal Queen, who also hailed from the Saddler's Wells line through their sire Scenic.
But Nimmerley is starting to extend clear with the Queen of the Turf, and Nimmerley gets a Group 1 today.
And So You Think's third Group 1 in a row was Nimmerley in the Queen of the Turf Stakes, with the former Emancipation Stakes winner perfectly prepared by Matt Smith. Nimmerley too is from a Zabeel mare Design and a granddaughter of Hong Kong Derby winner Elegant Fashion. She was bred by Crestfield and bought by Brett Howard from Milford Thoroughbreds at the English Premier Yearling Sale.
And here's a big win in the Australian Oaks for El Patroness for Damien Lane.
The fourth Group 1 on the day was the historic ATC Australian Oaks, this year going to another outstanding daughter of Rosemont Studs Cox Plate winner Seamus Award. The son of Schnitzel is having a benchmark year, while the Oaks winner El Patroness was co-bred by the trainer of both, Danny O'Brien. She's from the O'Reilly mare Sure You Can and is the 5th Group 1 winner for Seamus Award.
Alaskan God got himself into the clear. He's coming with a hell of a run.
The other 3-year-old classic on the day was the West Australian Derby, won by the son of Playing God, Alaskan God, with connections now eyeing off the Melbourne Cup. From the reset mare Lady Alaskan, the gelding was sold by Mungrup Stud to Dan Morton. Widden Stud announced through the week it will be the new home for Rebel Dane, sire of this year's Golden Slipper and Sire's Produce Stakes winner Fireburn. Rebel Dane started his career at Swettenham Stud before moving to Victoria's Glen Eden Stud, but deserves the chance to be visited by some of the best broodmares in the land at Widden in season 2022.
It's just a marvellous stage we're at now, particularly for people like Louis Mahika and his team that he had in the horse right from the start. Kenny and I got in halfway through his racing career, and we sort of took it upon ourselves when he retired to try and find him a good home. Luckily enough, Adam Sangster looked after us and gave us a start down there, and that's how we got started. But it's been a tough road. Thought so much of the horse that we just had to look after him, and that's where we ended up now with Widden.
It really is a hard road to hoe, isn't it? For a lot of people that think, oh well, this horse has won a Group 1, he'll just find a home. It's not that easy.
It's not that easy, and I'll ask you off the cuff, how many Group 1s did he race in?
Was it 18 or 19? 20?
25.
25, there
25.
we are.
So you look at the horse retiring, he went to start at 8 years old. He was fit right to the end, won a late Group 1 as well, the Manicato. Like it's just a story that it shouldn't surprise you as to where we are now, but certainly does. Fireburn's really been a wonderful thing, and it's great to see Louis and his team race the filly and doing so well.
And Widden Stud, I mean, what a wonderful historic Aussie colonial sort of farm, and it's the perfect fit.
Yeah, no, it should work really well, and the boys will look after him there. I just walked through their barn on the way down to ours, and they're all very happy and fired up, so yeah, we'll see how they go.
Looking at Fireburn's pedigree, the factors that stand out include the Danehill and Northern Dancer on both sides, and again through Rebel Dane sire California Dane, crossed with the So You Think mare Mullover. It's another representation of the Saddler's Worlds line crossed with Danehill, one of the world's great nicks. Win & Stud is also adding Group 1 winner Portland Sky to its roster in 2022. The son of Deep Field dead heated for first in the 2021 Oakley Plate, and his sire stood last year at a fee of $88,000. Portland Sky's fee has been fixed at $25,000 with lifetime breeding rights available. The Inglis graduate of the week is Mazu, an Inglis Classic Sale graduate who was successful in the Group 2 Arrowfield Sprint, a race sponsored by the stud standing his illustrious sire, Morris. Mazu is from the Flying Spur mare Chatelaine and was sold for $180,000 at the Inglis Classic yearling sale by breeder Parsons Creek Farm to the Ward brothers of Triple Crown Syndications. He's a half-brother to Coolmore Stud Stakes winner Headway and is another promising 3-year-old for his champion Japanese sire Morris, who also has triple Group 1 winner Hitotsu in flying form this season. So much happening, as always, in the thoroughbred breeding world. Coming up after the break, a full review of a thrilling 2022 Inglis Australian Easter yearling sale. In our Cambridge stud news for this week, their greatest performer in their yellow and black checks, Probabeel, has been confirmed to visit their own Almanzor this season, her first at stud. Cambridge Stud produced a beautiful story with Probabeel's former trainer Jamie Richards farewelling the mare before he heads to Hong Kong to train. One of New Zealand's greatest mares of the modern era, the daughter of Savabeel, looks a treat, and Almanzor has in recent times sired the Karaka Millions winner Dynastic, a race Probabeel won before returning to win the 3-year-old Million and 4 Group 1s, including the 2020 Epsom Mile. The Inglis Australian Easter yearling sale saw the return of sale largely normal, an elite buying bench from Australia and around the world, and a mouthwatering selection of yearlings bound for Group 1 success on the racetrack, and the hopes and expectations of thousands of new owners alive and well for the coming months and years. Sebastian, congratulations. An incredible result here to surpass the 2008 overall aggregate for Inglis Easter, and you know, just the team effort that's involved, the great stories. It's a sale you won't forget, I'm sure, in a long time, and neither will many others.
No, we've had a fantastic year. I mean, it's been wonderful, and you know, we were expecting to have a really good sale, and you know, you sort of have some parameters in your own mind that you think you'd like to try and achieve, but to be where we are now is really fantastic and a testament to the work that everybody's done right the way through the year. I mean, we talk about being able to differentiate ourselves on the basis of offering a high level of service, or is the best service, and that's right the way through the year, whether it's, you know, consideration of sale placements, the sales itself, the pre-sale, post-sale, across the board, and so for it to culminate in the results we've had the last 2 days, really very rewarding. And
you're working on a basis, you want to keep the buyers happy, obviously, by bringing the right horses here, but you're looking after the vendors too, and it's great that the vendors are looking after Inglis as well by bringing these horses. Arrowfield Stud, of course, they are the Easter Sales Ring Kings. They were by far and away the leading vendor, which is wonderful. Coolmore, Sedgenhoe, Newgate, Yarraman, you know, another good sale for Vinery. So all the elite breeders in Australia have really supported the sale.
Well, fundamentally, we go to the vendors every year and ask for the opportunity to sell their best horses, or what we think are their best horses, or what they think are their best horses, and some choose to, some choose not to. So for those who are here, you know, we take great responsibility in trying to achieve the best result we can for them, and you know, certainly I feel like over the course of the last 2 days we've achieved a lot of really fantastic results. You see the emotion through the day. I mean, inevitably, we're working to try and mitigate the number of disappointing results that people have to endure, and unfortunately and inevitably there will be some. But I think you reflect on the last 2 days and just recognise the fact that it's a tremendous endorsement of the strength of the market here, you know, the extent to which people want to participate. And we have any number of buyers through the sale that go home disappointed because, you know, they've singled out specific lots or particular lots they want to try and focus on, and unfortunately you can only ever be one buyer, and have had to miss out, and they go home disappointed. And you know, you want to be able to get those people back again the next time you have a good sale and help them find better horses or more horses.
Well, the leading buyers too, of course, Tom Magnier and MV and Coolmore, and you know, a lot of those colts going to Chris Waller, Kieran Maher racing, John O'Shea, John Hawkes, Kiora investing more now, of course, now they're back as a stallion farm, Hong Kong Jockey Club. So again, you know, these are the premium trainers, the premium bloodstock agents, and from the premium racing jurisdictions.
The names that you've listed out are recognition of the esteem in which the industry in this part of the world is held. You know, these are major international participants. They could really engage in bloodstock trading or bloodstock purchasing anywhere in the world. They choose to focus their attention at this time of the year on here, and hopefully those horses go on to be really successful for any number of those people. I mean, I think the reason, as we say time and time again, why people like buying here is because it's a sale most likely to produce you a top-class racehorse. It's borne out in the racecourse year after year, and you know, hopefully we can reflect on what we've seen over the past 2 days as being the preface to wonderful racing careers for a lot of these horses, and it's exciting, really.
Well, it is all about the horses, isn't it, too? Talk about the stallions. I Am Invincible. Zoostar went to another level. Snitzel, I mean, Done Deal had a huge sale. The new sires, the Autumn Sun, Justify, you know, it's such a wonderful range we're so lucky to have here in Australia.
There's any number of hugely progressive young stallions amongst that group. You know, Zoostar was a horse we had a particularly strong feeling about in the spring. You know, this is the best group of mares the horse has covered. He's done an exceptionally good job. Snitzel's we almost take Snitzel for granted. He's such a good stallion. Written Tycoon has arrived at the top table as well. You know, these are fantastic stallions, breeding very good-looking stock out of excellent mares that people are identifying specifically to breed these horses, and then the outcome is borne out in the sale ring and hopefully on the racecourse.
At $3 million. Coolmore buys. Thank you, Coolmore.
Can't believe it. You know, words can't describe the roller coaster of being behind the auctioneer there and seeing that horse make $3 million is just overwhelming, really.
And a $3 million top seller from Widden Stud to Coolmore. The great emotion there from Anthony Thompson. Zoostar, their own stallion, and the full brother to their great Sunlight. We had the staff streaming past us, hugging and crying, and you know, the pride of Anthony and Katie Thompson. You know, to sell the full brother to Sunlight for $3 million and top the Inglis Easter sale, it meant so much.
Cool horse. I mean, a really good-looking horse. I mean, in terms of trying to identify a fast racehorse, he pretty much had everything that I think anyone would look for. He just looked like a rocket. He's a brother to a rocket. And, you know, they're really wonderful people. They do an extraordinary job. You know, you make a mistake to underestimate the ambition that a guy like Anthony Thompson has and the team around him. You know, he sets his standards to be the best in this country. I think he's very proud of the history of his farm, and rightly so. They have a wonderful team of people. You know, they've been regenerated by a number of young people being added to that group in the last number of years, and I think it's borne out in the enthusiasm that we see from them at the sale. I think to go and do that at any sale is really incredibly difficult. I don't know if people would ever quite appreciate how hard it is to breed a horse that good, but they've done it and they've been rewarded for it, and it's fantastic we had the opportunity to be part of it.
And of course, Coolmore started buying not only that colt, but also the Snitzel Response, the full brother to Estajab from Arrowfield stud to Coolmore. And as Tom Magnier said, they're there to buy stallions, heading to Chris Waller as well. And really good to see Coolmore investing in new stallions. You know, obviously they have their own stallion whole, you know, sort of roster of wonderful stallions, but buying up Snitzels and I Am Invincibles and those sorts of horses, it's great to see.
Well, Coolmore have been to the forefront of the industry internationally for 50 years. I mean, John Magnier has been a pioneer of the industry. He's recognised opportunities before anybody else has. You know, they're very broad-minded in their thinking, so it's great to see them buying the progeny of different stallions here. You know, I think they've had a tremendous level of success with this syndicate in particular in buying Home Affairs. You know, a number of exciting 2-year-olds in this crop, and you know, I think Home Affairs sets a standard, admittedly a very high standard, but a standard for what they set out to achieve with these colts. And you know, I think it'd be a brave man to bet against them doing it again with the graduates of this sale. And
of course, the Snitzel Silence Edition, Arrowfield to Hawkes Racing for $2.2 million. They bought Estajab, of course, from Arrowfield, who won the Golden Slipper, the $1.7 million filly. And you just know that this filly's going to get every chance with Team Hawkes.
I mean, you talk about Coolmore being or John Magnier being a pioneer of the industry. I mean, John Massar is the Australian equivalent. I mean, he's been, you know, singularly biggest or the singular biggest asset to the industry here over the last any number of decades. It's extraordinary what he's been able to do, and the manner in which he's cultivated families, developed families, you know, encouraged investment in this jurisdiction has been incredible. And you see the fruits of his labour at a sale like this, because just so many well-bred horses, well-credentialed horses that, you know, the families of which have been strategically developed over time by a variety of different stallions, you know, established horses like Snitzel and Not a Single Doubt, to progressive young horses like Dundeel, and then young horses like Morris and the Autumn Sun. It's really extraordinary what he's been able to do. And, you know, those good yearlings, whether it was the Response or the Silence Edition, you know, right the way through, I mean, it's just an incredible thing to be able to do what his team has done, and they deserve to be well rewarded for it.
At $2 million, I sell it this time. Last time I called, at $2 million, I sell. $2 million.
Credit to the filly, she's just an absolute professional. Yeah, and a credit to the team. She has our brand on her shoulder, and she always will have, so very proud.
And the I Am Invincible Pinocchio filly, again, this was the great theatre too. Pinocchio, mother of classic legend Athero, etc., but such a part of Linda and Lawrence Mond's whole life, of what they've created at Tyrrell Stud. $2 million to Mitchell Bloodstock, and, you know, it must have been hard. I know Linda was saying right up till the end she was hoping to hang on to that filly. Did you have to have a role in really coaxing and convincing, you know, you're here, it's really important that you do put this filly through the ring?
To be fair, Jonathan Darcy has a fantastic relationship with Linda and Lawrence. You know, works very closely with them. The nature of the relationship they have with this filly is, you know, particularly special relationship. And so Jonathan's been a big part of facilitating the process. So tremendous credit to him, because, you know, I think he's recognised the value of that animal to Linda and Lawrence and been very sensitive to that, and I think no one will be more satisfied than him than or to see her go in and be as, I think, sought after in the manner that she was. I think ultimately that's the main compliment. It's not a case that she just went in and made a big price. She went in and is admired by everybody in the complex, and I think that's, you know, ultimately the best compliment you can pay to the work that Linda and Lawrence do, Rob on the farm, etc. And I think that's part of the reason why Linda and Lawrence to be so emotional about the whole experience. It's just such a great compliment to be regarded and to the standing that they are now.
And I guess overall, just wrapping up, we see, you know, Newgate Farm, they had the I'm Invincible Rude Awakening, $1.7 million to James Harron. But Newgate, you know, Henry Field, we see the energy behind, you know, these sort of people in the industry that really stand, the whole industry, the Inglis Easter Yearling Sale, and everything that's happening in the breeding and racing game here in Australia, just looking ahead in leaps and bounds for the future.
Look, Henry Field's going to be fundamentally important to our sport and our industry for as long as he wants to be. Extraordinarily hard-working guy, very smart guy, you know, services his patrons just like in the most incredible fashion. You know, I don't think you'd meet anybody who doesn't enjoy business dealings with Henry. They brought a fantastic draft to the sale, the best draft they've ever brought to the sale. Something that we took as a massive compliment, because it displayed a level of confidence in us that, you know, we found rewarding. And for them to be, the yearlings they brought to be as well sought after as they were, was great. You know, Sir Owen Glenn bred the Rude Awakening filly, she's a pretty special filly. To have the opportunity to offer her in itself was a great compliment. And, you know, they had some lovely horses with their draft, they sold really well. And again, their farm has developed this wonderful reputation as sources of top-class racehorses, or a source of top-class racehorses. And, you know, hopefully we're reflecting on these horses as top-class racehorses in years to come.
You know, there's plenty of time to look ahead at what's happening in the future. But, you know, again, as we said, you must be very satisfied. So congratulations, the whole Inglis team, on a great result.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we were a really fantastic group of people. As a group, we do work really hard. I mean, we are very sensitive to the fact that we want to do well. A lot of ambitious people in the group. You know, we're always trying to identify ways in which we can do things better, improve, etc. You know, it's a pleasure to work for a family like the Inglis family, you know, who are really understanding, facilitative, compassionate people, and creates a really good environment for people to go about their job. You know, I think we just look forward to getting stuck into the next occasion. We have a lot of big sales through April and May, or through the rest of April and May, and again, the objective is always the same. We want to offer people a good service, help people achieve good results, and I think if we can continue doing that, we'll continue to enjoy it.
And what a a truly wonderful sale it was, and good luck to all the buyers and the vendors who all have so much resting on the crop of 2022. Coming up after the break, one of our most popular segments on Bred to Win, Arrowfield Studs, the horse who made you love racing.
Well, Carolyn, I won't be alone in declaring its might and power. And I liked the sport before Might and Power's Caulfield Cup, and being at the track, watching him in action, I was in awe and truly fell in love with the game. And there's actually quite a funny story behind it, because I was a cheeky teenager at the time, and they used to have billboards on Dandenong Road leading up to Caulfield Racecourse, where they'd have the previous year's winners, and then they'd have the current year, which I think was 97, and a question mark. So my friend and I got up in the middle of the night and printed out this huge Marble Hall sign and stuck it on. Anyway, after the race, Marble Halls ran down the track, and this old guy sidled up next to me and said, "How good was that?" I said, "Amazing." He said, "You back it?" I said, "No, I actually backed Marble Halls." And he said, "Well, at least you kept it to yourself, unlike those idiots who stuck the name of the horse up on the billboard." So had a good laugh, and I came home that evening and I just said to myself, like, what I saw there was something truly special, and it actually had a profound effect on me, more than any other sporting event I'd been to. And I think from that point forward, I was a goner, and yeah, he's certainly inspired me to become seriously involved in the industry.
Being in the ownership group with, very elegant, incentivised, all these absolute champions, but that must remind you of the thrill of when you first see a horse that grabs you, it hooks you in.
Yeah, it's intoxicating, and they set a very high bar, for champions I've been involved with. I always compare them to Might and Power, and I'd like to think there was something rather Might and Power-esque about incentivised Caulfield Cup win. Fortunately, I couldn't be on track, and no one could. But there was something certainly that brought back memories of Might and Power, and hopefully he can do what Might and Power did as well, come back the following year and win a Cox Plate. So I'm hoping.
Always great to hear from those investing in the racing industry, and thanks to Bray Sikowski for sharing his love of the horse on Bred to Win. That's it for this week's show. Don't miss next week's as we show you the behind-the-scenes story of one of Arrowfield Stud's most important staff members, Adam Shankly, the man who cared for the wonderful Arrowfield breed shapers, Redute's Choice, Schnitzel and more, and prepared Not a Single Doubt, and more recently the Autumn Sun as yearlings, and welcomed them back to Arrowfield as stallions. That's next week. I'm Caroline Searcy. Look forward to seeing you next Monday night on Bred to Win.